Before you close your eyes tonight, pause for just 1 minute. Not to remember the past, not to worry about tomorrow, but to whisper something so powerful, so quietly life-altering, that it could tilt the direction of your entire reality. Science has a name for this moment. It calls it the hypnagogic state, the narrow bridge between wakefulness and sleep. Philosophers call it the threshold of becoming. And Neville Goddard, one of the great metaphysical minds of the 20th century, called it the most sacred doorway to creation. You might be surprised to learn that neuroscientists today are beginning to echo what mystics knew centuries ago, that the last few thoughts you entertain before sleep have the uncanny ability to influence your memory, your perception, your mood, and even your physical health. Let's be clear. This is not mysticism dressed up as mindfulness. This is biology meeting belief. When your brain enters the twilight phase between alpha and theta waves, just before slipping into sleep, the neocortex steps back and the limbic system opens. Your critical filter goes silent, and your subconscious, the unguarded vault of your long-held beliefs, listens without resistance. In this state, research from Harvard Medical School and Stanford Sleep Laboratory shows increased plasticity in neural circuits, meaning your brain becomes unusually receptive to suggestion. This is why people in this state can experience vivid imagery, sudden insights, or even solve problems they struggled with all day. It's also why the ancient Stoics would repeat empowering truths to themselves before rest. They understood that to guide the mind was to shape destiny. Imagine this like planting seeds in fertile soil. The thought you choose becomes the seed, the emotional energy you give it is the water, and your subconscious is the rich earth that grows whatever you drop into it. If you drift off replaying regrets, resentments, or fears, you are watering weeds. But if instead you offer a vision of peace, prosperity, or worthiness, you plant a garden of intention. It's not poetry, it's neurobiology. A 2022 study published in Nature Communications demonstrated that intention-based rehearsal before sleep significantly enhances the likelihood of recall and behavior change upon waking. Which means that saying, "I am safe, I am loved, I am abundant," before sleep doesn't just feel good, it rewires you, quietly and consistently, night by night. This is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about choosing what mental images to sleep with, because your subconscious does not judge them, it builds with them. This is your power, no matter your age. In fact, especially at your age, the brain remains plastic well into our 80s. The belief that transformation belongs only to the young is simply false. A study from UC Irvine found that individuals over 65 who engaged in nighttime affirmation practices showed improved cognitive resilience, lower cortisol levels, and better emotional regulation within 6 weeks. You are not too late. You are right on time. So tonight, as your house grows quiet and your thoughts begin to soften, take back those 60 seconds. Speak gently but with conviction. Choose one phrase that resonates and repeat it slowly, rhythmically, like a lullaby for your inner self. Something as simple as, "My life is unfolding in grace. I am deeply at peace." Let those words cradle you into rest. Let them echo into the deepest layers of your mind. Then sleep, because your subconscious is not just listening, it's preparing. And when you wake, the world you see may begin to change, not because the world shifted, but because you finally did. Say it tonight, and again tomorrow, and the day after that. 1 minute, 1 seed, 1 shift. You are the author of your ending, and your new beginning. You may have lived through wars, recessions, the birth of the internet, the rise and fall of empires and ideas, but nothing compares to the quiet revolution that happens each night inside your own mind. There is a silent architect within you, the subconscious, working without complaint, shaping your days from the raw material of your most repeated thoughts. For decades, philosophers like Neville Goddard taught that imagination is not fantasy, it is function. And now, neuroscience confirms that the images we hold, especially those saturated with emotion, become the blueprint for our behaviors, our choices, even our biology. Consider this. Researchers at MIT and the Max Planck Institute have discovered that the brain cannot distinguish vividly imagined events from those experienced in waking reality. When you replay a memory or visualize a future, your brain lights up the same neural pathways. To your subconscious, imagining joy and living joy are almost identical in their chemical footprint. This is why visualizing peace before sleep has the same calming effect as experiencing it. Let me bring it home with something even more practical. If you've ever laid awake in the night revisiting a painful memory, chances are you woke the next morning feeling more anxious, perhaps even physically tense. That's not coincidence, it's cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone that gets released when the brain perceives threat, even if that threat is only imagined. And it doesn't matter if you're 85 or 25. The stress system reacts the same. However, studies from the University of Wisconsin have shown that just 90 seconds of positive mental rehearsal before sleep can reduce nighttime cortisol and lower resting heart rate. That's less time than it takes to brush your teeth. Your thoughts are not background noise. They are chemical commands. So ask yourself tonight, what am I rehearsing? What kind of world am I asking my subconscious to build for me while I sleep? Because whether you're praying, worrying, or visualizing, you are sending instructions. And what you repeat, you become. A 2021 longitudinal study from UCLA tracking adults over the age of 65 found that those who engaged in daily visualization practices reported higher levels of optimism, mobility, and even reduced symptoms of chronic inflammation. The body listens when the mind leads with intention. You are not just thinking, you are sculpting. There is no expiry date on imagination. In fact, some of the most powerful neural changes in later life happen through something called self-directed neuroplasticity. That means you can change your brain by changing the way you think, at any age. This is not wishful thinking. This is science catching up to what mystics have long known, that what we dwell upon, especially in those quiet moments before sleep, becomes a living seed. And if we tend to that seed night after night, it grows. So tonight, speak to your mind like a gardener speaks to the soil. Feed it truth, hope, and vision. See yourself strong, see yourself thriving, see yourself at peace. Then rest in the knowing that your mind, your oldest and most loyal companion, is already at work to make it real. The harvest is always hidden in the seed. Plant wisely. If I told you that the most powerful transformation of your life could begin in silence, would you believe me? Not through grand resolutions or sweeping changes, but in the stillness of a quiet room, eyes closed, body relaxed, and a single idea held gently in your mind. This is the practice Neville Goddard described as the state akin to sleep, and modern science has given it a more clinical name, hypnagogia. Yet names do not matter nearly as much as the truth beneath them. In this transitional moment between wakefulness and sleep, your brain slips into a state where the conscious mind, with all its filters and judgments, begins to let go, and the subconscious becomes highly suggestible. Researchers at Princeton and Stanford have used EEG scans to observe this state and found heightened activity in the default mode network, a region associated with imagination, self-reflection, and memory consolidation. In other words, this is the moment when your inner world becomes most receptive to the visions you present it. Now, imagine you're walking into a cathedral. You lower your voice not because someone told you to, but because the space itself feels sacred. That's what the state akin to sleep is. It is a sacred cathedral of the mind. When you enter this space, you must bring only what you wish to see multiply. Worry and fear are uninvited guests. Doubt is a thief, but gratitude, hope, and vision are architects. The practice is beautifully simple. Find a quiet place, free from distraction. Sit or lie down, and allow your body to relax with intention. Take slow, deep breaths, letting each exhale carry away the day's noise. With your eyes closed and your breath steady, begin to conjure an image in your mind that reflects a life already fulfilled. See yourself walking with strength. See your children thriving. See your finances balanced. Do not beg for these things. Assume them. Enter into the feeling of their reality as if it were already yours. A study from the University of Michigan revealed that individuals who practiced emotional visualization before sleep had significantly better sleep quality, lower blood pressure upon waking, and increased feelings of life satisfaction after only 2 weeks. This is not imagination for its own sake. This is mental rehearsal for your future self. Olympians have used this for decades. Astronauts rehearse missions mentally before entering space. Why should your life be any different? Your mind is the most advanced simulator in existence, and each night you get to choose the scenario it rehearses. At this point in your life, you have seen enough to know that change does not come from wishing. It comes from alignment. And alignment happens when your thoughts, your emotions, and your vision all point in the same direction. So give your mind a map, offer it a destination, then let it go to work while you sleep. Remember, you are not planting hope in thin air. You are activating systems in your brain that influence hormones, regulate mood, and subtly shift the decisions you make tomorrow. As you imagine yourself calm, capable, and complete, the brain begins to seek coherence. It looks for ways to make your inner image match your outer world. The reticular activating system, the brain's internal filter, starts noticing opportunities, people, and choices aligned with the state you've imagined. This is not magic. It is mechanics. Yet it is also sacred, because it places the power back into your hands. So tonight, do not drift into sleep thoughtlessly. Instead, enter with awareness. Shape your image. Speak your affirmation. Feel the reality of your desire. Then release it, like a seed into fertile ground, and allow the night to do its holy work. You are not just sleeping. You are becoming. The words you speak in the quiet dark are not simply whispers to yourself. They are instructions written on the walls of your subconscious, blueprints for the architecture of your days. We live in a culture that often underestimates the subtle power of language, especially the words we say to ourselves. But as both philosophy and modern science affirm, words are not passive. They are active agents of transformation. Neville Goddard understood this decades ago when he taught that feeling is the secret. He did not mean emotion alone, but the fusion of language with belief, imagination with embodiment. Today, neuroscientists studying self-directed neuroplasticity have arrived at a similar conclusion. According to research at the University of California, Berkeley, repeating positive affirmations in a calm and focused state can stimulate regions in the brain responsible for self-value, reward prediction, and future planning. In simple terms, what you say to yourself with conviction becomes a neurological path your mind starts to follow. Let's not forget how vulnerable the subconscious becomes in the moments before sleep. That is precisely when your words carry the most weight. They bypass the critical gatekeeper of the conscious mind and sink into the deeper soil where identity is shaped and habits are born. If you end your day by repeating the same cycles of fear or guilt or "I'm too old to change," your subconscious hears those messages as directives and aligns your biology to reflect them. Cortisol levels rise, neural rigidity increases, but shift the script and the body responds in kind. In a 2020 study from the University of Exeter, older adults who practiced nightly verbal affirmations for just 1 minute showed significant improvement in sleep quality, mood stability, and even perceived physical vitality. The body hears, the cells respond, the brain rewires. Now here is where it becomes practical. Do not wait until you feel inspired to speak better words. Speak better words, and the inspiration will follow. Begin tonight. Sit on the edge of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your body go soft. Then speak these words, not as if they are far away, but as if they are already true. Say, "I am worthy of everything I desire. Abundance flows to me effortlessly. I am successful in all that I do. My life is filled with peace, joy, and prosperity. Thank you, God, for this beautiful life unfolding perfectly for me." Do not rush the words. Feel them as you say them. Let them land in your chest, your breath, your being. Imagine the images they create. See the prosperity. See the peace. See the vitality in your body and the lightness in your steps. This is not pretending. This is programming. And your brain, as confirmed by fMRI imaging studies at Emory University, does not wait for external proof before it begins to align with internal belief. If you speak it and feel it consistently, your behavior, your expectations, and your choices will begin to mirror that inner reality. This is not about reciting magic spells. This is about the neurochemical fact that emotionally charged language alters brain states. It is also about dignity, about reclaiming the authority to define how your story ends. So I challenge you with gentleness but urgency. For the next 7 nights, speak these words. Make it a ritual as sacred as brushing your teeth or turning out the lights. 1 minute, 1 voice, 1 decision to stop reinforcing the past and begin constructing the future. If you stumble or doubt, return to the practice. Speak anyway. If your voice shakes, let it. But do not let silence speak fear in your place. This is your hour, and what you speak tonight becomes the soil of tomorrow. Say it, feel it, believe it, and then rest. Let your subconscious carry the message while you sleep. The seeds will take root. The change will begin. There is a moment, just before sleep, when the world outside begins to fade and the world within becomes more real than ever. In that moment, something sacred stirs. It is not imagination in the way we were taught as children. It is creation. It is blueprint. It is your subconscious mind, fully awakened and waiting for instruction. And what you give it in those final breaths of the day becomes the raw material of your next becoming. Not tomorrow by chance, but tomorrow by design. Philosophers have long said, as within, so without, and now neuroscience joins them in harmony. Studies from institutions like Harvard and Johns Hopkins confirm that pre-sleep mental focus reshapes the neural architecture of memory, motivation, and perception. This means your brain is literally reconfiguring overnight based on what you offer it just before you close your eyes. Not metaphorically, literally. Brain scans show that the hippocampus, which processes memory and emotion, is especially active during early stages of sleep. Feed it fear, and it files away fear. Feed it vision, and it begins building pathways toward that vision. This is your nightly opportunity to either reinforce limitation or initiate liberation. Yet this is not just about theory. This is about what you do tonight. Not someday, not next year. Tonight. The reason most people never experience change is not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack consistency. Transformation, like a seed, needs repetition. The same way a tree does not bloom after one day of sunlight, your subconscious does not rewire after one affirmation, but it will respond to your devotion. A study from the University of British Columbia showed that individuals over the age of 65 who engaged in consistent mental imagery and affirmation before bed experienced measurable increases in dopamine levels, which are linked to motivation and mood regulation. You're not too old. You're not too late. In fact, the more years you've lived, the deeper the soil in which you can plant. You carry wisdom now, not just desire, and wisdom makes the roots grow stronger. So here is your invitation. For the next 7 nights, before you sleep, return to your center. Speak your chosen words of power. Feel them. Imagine them as if you are already living them. I am worthy of everything I desire. Abundance flows to me effortlessly. I am successful in all that I do. My life is filled with peace, joy, and prosperity. Thank you, God, for this beautiful life unfolding perfectly for me. Say it as a declaration, not a question. Say it until your voice and your belief begin to match. Then drift off holding the image of that life as if it were already true. The subconscious does not ask if it is real. It only asks how deeply you feel it. And once you do, it gets to work making that your new default, your new identity, your new experience. Now, if you feel even the smallest shift within you after practicing this, perhaps a gentler waking, a brighter moment in your day, a strange yet welcome sense of calm, do not ignore it. That is evidence. That is confirmation. Continue. Stay with it. You are reshaping the soil of your future, one thought at a time. And as you do, remember that your change may ripple outward. Someone near you may notice. Someone may be watching. And perhaps they too are waiting for a sign that it is not too late to grow. You could be that sign for them. If you are ready to awaken your subconscious and unlock the path to your greater destiny, leave a comment below and say with conviction, I am ready to win. And do not keep this to yourself. Share this video. Someone you love may need to hear this tonight. Someone who thinks time has passed them by. Someone who forgot how powerful they still are. Remind them. Remind yourself. And together, let us rewrite what it means to grow older. Let it mean growing wiser, freer, more radiant, more fulfilled. Let it begin tonight.